Welcome to the Podfather Podcast. You'll find all the episodes on podfather.me. You'll find all my 6 podcasts. I'm not going to tell you what they are. You can check them out. Scan the QR code or go to icon.com. If you're looking for a virtual assistant, go to va.world. And if you want to improve your brain, instead of just going to the gym, go to braingym.fitness. My guest, a best-selling author. I believe 5 books, but by the time I've done my research, it could be 10, who knows, or there could be 10 in the pipeline. Award-winning podcaster, media creator, and sought-after keynote speaker with 30 years of speaking experience. She developed PowerFrame Messaging, a dynamic framework that helps leaders, speakers, and content creators craft messages that captivate, inspire, and drive action. Hosting the Jen Hardy Show on YouTube, which is like something like 90,000+ subscribers, over 3 million views, which I know is hard to do. And the fabulous over 50 podcasts, which I believe is at top 2.5%. Could have been 1 or whatever because they fluctuate all the time, but it's in the top of the charts internationally. Has earned her Broadcast of the Year and Podcast of the Year, captivating millions with her authentic storytelling and bold vision. With 5 published books, including her latest bestseller on YouTube Success, Jen continues to inspire creators to make their mark. As the founder and CEO of Hardy House Media, Jen leads a family-run enterprise dedicated to producing empowering content for creators and entrepreneurs. From Florida, Jen Hardy, welcome to the show.
Wow, thank you so much. Yeah, here I am. It is so amazing to be here. I am so honored to be on your show. Thank you so much for inviting me.
No, I'm delighted that you're here. And I suppose let's start off with, I mentioned it, but I think it's brilliant. You've the beautiful birds in the background and you've all the bling bling, you've the pearls on your microphone and everything. And I think, did you relate, was that something you done at the very start? Or was that something you kind of built as the show was developing?
That was something I absolutely built as the show was developing. My show started for sick moms. It was really depressing, helpful, but depressing as fire. And I went to Podfest, a podcasting convention, and I was looking around thinking, I've got to stop introducing myself as this sick mom, right? No. And so I looked around and I thought, who is an underserved audience? And it was women over 50, especially creators women over 50. Nobody talks about us. And I thought, you know what, but let's not be depressing anymore. Let's make it exciting. So it was Fabulous Over 50, literally born in a split second. And I have just ran with it. And I have now a closet in my studio that looks like a Vegas showgirl, full of all the sequins and all the things and glitter. And like we were talking about, and I now interview judges with wearing sequins and glitter. And it's fun. I got to tell you, it's because, aging. So my mom said that glitter was the herpes of the craft world. And I thought, wrinkles don't go away either. So we put the two together. People don't notice the wrinkles, they notice the glitter. And that's where it's just started growing once I realized. Yeah.
Well, I think Zoom enhances that as well, because I can even see sometimes I look at the videos, and I go, oh, it's not too bad. And then, you look in the mirror and you get a different reaction. So, yeah.
Oh my gosh. Okay, Dan, let me ask you a question, because I ask this to women too. So for me, when I look in the mirror, I see my 30-year-old self. I see the self I used to see. But when I look at a picture, I'm like, who is that old lady?
That's interesting that you said that, because I look in the mirror and I see my dark hair and it's gray, and I see the picture and it's like I am looking in the mirror and I'm seeing darker hair.
Yeah.
It's like, what is that? And then there's a picture and it's full gray and you're like, oh, I don't understand this. What does the brain kind of go, hey, we'll keep you happy. You don't want to see the real you. I don't know. It's a strange one.
I don't know. But also I think, we've learned how to look in the mirror and make certain faces and have certain angles where we look our best, right? But when someone else captures you, it's on the camera. You're not making that same face. You're not at the same angle. I don't know. That's the only way I can explain it to myself. But yeah, I really like the person in the mirror better than the person on the picture.
So with the equipment then, because you were kind of panning around earlier, like, do you have a mixer, and what kind of things do you use for your show?
Yeah, so I have a Rodecaster Pro 2, and I have 2 of these ungodly large stands. Dave Jackson, a couple of Christmases ago, they had these things, and it's like the bar with all the poles that come off, right? So I've got 2 of them. One holds my mixer and a Canon and my light, and then the other one holds my Sony and my iPad to try to keep me on schedule, and more lights. And so I have all these. Yeah, it's crazy. And right now, I would pan, but I can't because I had this event and I single-handedly put on what my attorney says I cannot call the Oscars of podcasting. So I can't say those words. But it was. And we had 100 feet of red carpet and stanchions, and I have buckets over there of all the things. Because if you think I wear sequins, you have no idea what it was involved in this event. Lots of those.
So tell me about the event and the awards you got as well.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So like you said, I come up with ideas and I just do them because the time is short. Life is short. You don't know what's going to happen. You don't know what you got. So I decided in January to do this thing because I was listening to people at Podfest, and the people over 50 were kind of agitated because everything's marketed to younger people. And they said, we've got the experience, and let's face it, our generation, we've got the money that other generations don't have yet. All we are getting marketed by here in the States anyway is Depends Undergarments and AARP, which is the Association for Retired People. Nobody markets to us. Why? And so I thought, oh my gosh, we need to do something where we recognize people over 50, right? That we can do tech and we are relevant and show people that there are 50 of us at least. And do you know how many people said you should change the name? You're not even going to get 50 people nominating. And we got almost 300. So we did do that. We passed that. And what we did was 50 is a lot of people. Still trying to get their certificates done so I can get them to them. But we honored 50 people over 50. And then the top 3 got trophies. And of course, Mel Robbins, number 1. Sandy Kay was number 2. She was the first female in Australia. They call it newsreader, but here we call it a broadcaster. And then Enrique Gonzalez, who's actually local to me, got number 3, which was really exciting. And then we honored 3 other people. One, who I'm calling the world's oldest podcaster. You can argue it, but he's 95 years old and the most articulate man. We're starting to put shorts out on one of our YouTube channels so people can see every single person. That actually started yesterday. So by the time this episode comes out, people can go to my website. There'll be a link, and jenhardy.net. Everything's linked there. But and then we honored a veteran who's helping other veterans because my husband's a retired veteran. And the third one was somebody who's pushing, helping people all over the world explore podcasting, because in the US we tend to be very country centric. And I think that it's important that we talk about a worldwide media, as you do, because you're not here in the US. And so James Cridlin from Pod News got that one because, he's incredible. He's everywhere. I don't know how he does it. So yeah, in a nutshell, that's what we did. And it was amazing. And because I did it in a medical office and transformed that place, I got backers the day after the event. So next year it's going to be huge, and it's not going to be at a medical office. And it's going to be more than the awards.
Brilliant. Yeah, and I just thought it's impressive to start that, incredible.
It was great. Oh, and the other thing, 3 continents, people from 3 continents applied and won. We had people from 5 different countries, our first out the gate, which I thought was really cool. So next year you got to come, you got to fly in for the event. It's going to be so worth it because it's going to be a days long event. It's not just the awards. Yeah.
And the thing is, you mentioned about the international thing, but the Americans listen to podcasts a lot more. I mean, all of my podcasts, at least 50% are American listeners.
Yeah, there's a lot. There's a lot there. But there's a lot, I think people here, well, we just don't tend to pay attention to anyone else anywhere, and I think it's important. A lot of my audience is all over the place, and I love that. I think it's exciting,
So the YouTube, that's and the broadcaster of the year, what's that? Is that from the YouTube or where?
That was from the YouTube channel. Yeah. So Women in Podcasting, last year they had their first Broadcast of the Year award, and my channel got it, which was incredible because last year is when it started. And that has been a roller coaster because I'm from LA, and they said, once woman is 40, she's done. And I'm 56. So the fact that I'm on video and people are watching and tuning in, and is really incredible. But I do have a channel that no one does what I do, and that may be part of it. Is interviewing the people in the justice system. When we're going to branch out, that's also going to become international. So I'm going in Europe. Well, not in Europe. I'm going to Europe next month. Going to try to get some people if I can over there, and then yeah, see what I can do to teach people. Because I try to get some education in. It's entertaining and all that, but I really want people to learn too, because there's a lot of interesting things about the justice system.
Yeah, well, I definitely can get you some good guests because I have a lot of experience here. I was working in construction. I've had over 100 court cases, so I know the good ones. But one is a teacher. There's two of them actually. They're teaching, so they would be good for you, and they've perfect English, so they would be ideal.
That would be fantastic. Yeah, definitely give them my contact info. We'll talk to them.
So with the YouTube, then do you do it live or is it all pre-recorded and put out later?
So many videos. Okay, so we do 3 to 4 a day that are shorts. And there was a point where because we have several channels, we were doing 16 videos a day in-house. It's crazy. 3 to 4 shorts a day, 1 long form video a week, and 2 to 3 lives a week. 2 lives on one channel, 1 live on the other. I'm starting another one now. Yeah.
And do you just keep it on YouTube or do you put it out on all the other platforms as well? Because we mentioned prior, with the LinkedIn, some people now are putting it out to that. There's obviously TikTok. There's so many different things.
There are, and I'm horrible at the socials, so no, they're not. But I am in the process of hiring interns at this point, and they're going to help me with that. Because I have done, are you ready for this? I've recorded over 1,000 shower thoughts. My channel has over 1,000 videos. Most of them are we didn't talk about shower thoughts. Okay, so most of them are my shorts. But yeah, I've recorded over 2,000 videos, but I put 1,000 up on my channel in the last year.
So,
and none of them are anywhere else. Yeah.
Did I get it right that you grew it from 38 to the 91? It's more like,
so that's part of my thing. So in 8 years of having my channel, at the end of 8 years, and in that time, I had done a 30 episodes in 30 days where I worked 14 hours a day for 30 days, getting these episodes out. And at the end of all of that, I had 38 subscribers and 127 views. 8 years is awful. And then everyone kept saying, put your podcast on YouTube. And I'm like, I got a face for radio. Really don't want to do that. But I thought, okay, fine. I interviewed a judge. I did not know she was YouTube famous. Judge Boyd, love her. Mwah, because she really helped me. But I also batched out 100 of these shower thoughts. And the thing with shower thoughts is this, and this is, I will tell your audience, if you want to get onto YouTube and you want to grow, number one, die-hard old school YouTubers don't like shorts. But really, that's how it's a different audience. Different audience for long form, shorts, and live. They're different audiences on your same channel. Do the shorts. But you find something that you really like, that you're passionate about, and then tweak it a little bit. Something that's popular, that's other people are doing well, going viral, but make it yours. So for me, shower thoughts, I love them. Why do we drive in a parkway and park on a driveway kind of a thing? But I do them in the shower, very modestly dressed, in a blingy robe, because bling is my thing, of course. Shower is not running. I don't know why people always ask if the water's not running. Know that. I've got tech in there. And I just stand there and I use the shower nozzle for a microphone, and I hold my iPhone in my hand. I have tried using good microphones. They always make it sound worse. So I've done 1,000 of these, and just stand there, batch them out 1 to 200 at a time, and schedule them out. So that's what I did. Scheduled 3 to 4 a day for a month. Put this Judge Boyd interview up. Was monetized in 3 weeks at 250,000 views my first month. And I got my first YouTube community partner manager when I had only 2,000 subscribers, which usually you have to have 100,000. And then I got my second one at 10,000. So yeah.
So you definitely, because sometimes with the kind of special guests. But what I found, like say David Icke now or something like that, I went my awakening, and I kind of learned that it doesn't necessarily mean you can convert them, because he's not really on YouTube. He's kicked off. I mean, my awakening was kicked off YouTube as well, but I've got my own right calling on YouTube, and it's a lot of the time you're not able to tap into it. But is it tagging them, or what's the best way of tapping in if they have a big YouTube following?
All right. So I'll tell you, I do boot camps on this because there is, and I wrote the book. If anyone's interested, I'm telling you, because I've got a YouTube. I had a bunch of YouTubers contribute, and one of them said, I've answered the questions he's had in his 10 years of being a YouTuber. No one's answered his questions like I did in my book. So there we go. And but here's the secret. Are you ready?
Absolutely.
The file that you upload. Okay, what is YouTube? It's Google. And what is Google? It's a search engine. And people get lost in the funny cat videos and they forget that it's a search engine. And so everything from the file that you upload has to have those keywords in it, because people will upload a file 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? Whatever the file name is. No. Pack that file name. I mean, you can have it 30 keywords long if you want to. There's no limit. So you upload your file with the name, with one of the keywords in it. And then that keyword needs to be in the file, in the title, in a hashtag and a tag and your description everywhere, so that the algorithm knows, because really the algorithm, it's just a computer and it's searching for info, right? Someone searching for things. Does your video have what they're searching for? How is it going to know? And everything you upload, you need to make sure that the algorithm clearly knows what you've got. Does that mean that all my videos go? No. Some of them have 13 views and it sucks. I don't like it either. And then sometimes things are popular and then they go, you know? Yeah,
But
that's
one thing I can say about yours is, because I look at all my guests and I see a load would have, like 8 years ago, they'd have the massive ones, and that's why their numbers. But yours are recent, like the one 300 odd thousand, but it's only 8 months. There's a load of big ones that are very recent, which is very rare now, because it's like before there wasn't as many people creating videos. But it looks like you've really, yeah. I mean, I started spending a lot of time now trying to do it. I use vidIQ and TubeBuddy and stuff like that. And sometimes I have the thumbnail. I use the keyboard and the title. I have it in the thing. I hashtag it and everything. And sometimes it doesn't work, and sometimes it does, and it's like, it's kind of frustrating. I mean, I don't get anywhere near your numbers, like, but it's interesting. So do you think it takes time and consistency or is it just luck that a certain keyword is just gets searched at that time?
all right. So it's a lot of it is just luck. But I will tell you this book. So I asked 12 YouTubers and media company owners to give contributions to my book, and they're at the back of the book. So people have to read the whole thing, of course. But my YouTube partner manager, I said, hey, can you contribute to this? And he's like, officially, I cannot, but I'll give you one word. So from YouTube, there is one word in my book, and it's the biggest word. It's the last word in the book, and it's consistency. So I post my first short of the day at 7:44 every single morning for the last 380 something days. And why 7:44? Because when you upload, it gives you the opportunity to post on the quarter of the hour, right? And what does that mean? It means YouTube's being flooded every quarter of the hour, right? With videos. So I do the last minute before the quarter of the hour, which means all those videos have been looked at and gone through. And before the next flood comes, I'm the minute before the next flood comes. Because you can change it. You don't have to do it the quarter. Do it any minute you want. And also, podcasters, stop dumping your podcasts on YouTube at midnight Sunday. I can't tell you, 90% of podcasters, like midnight, Sunday night, Monday morning, whatever. Dear God, stop that. They're lost in the flood. You gotta stand out. So pick a day during the week, pick an obscure time, and then do it. That's my hint for the day. It drives me crazy.
No, that's very. With the videos, I do the videos differently, but with my audio for the Learn Polish, because that one that's on Podbean, I put that out on the Monday morning at a minute past midnight, and on Wednesday, because I'm getting the traffic, because a lot of people learn languages on the thing, and yeah. But I've heard different reactions for weekend stuff, but the video, like, yeah, it's. Yeah, but I
But you
like
think
that
about it,
quarter to the 44 is
everyone's dumping them on. So what I've been doing is actually uploading mine Friday afternoon, because yes, Monday is a new work week, but Friday people are traveling. Right. And a lot of people don't do things on Friday afternoon because they're like, oh, the week is over, whatever. But the weekend is just beginning. So if somebody's going for a long drive or whatever, then your thing is coming out then. So just something else to think about, because it's not what they traditionally say, but I don't know,
Mm.
shaking
So
it up.
no, I love it, love it. So with the company, then you've got family that's involved with your company, yes?
I do. So my husband is my producer, and my kids are my daughter's a YouTuber. She just started. I fought social media, but she's got a channel, and I was so adamant about them not showing their face. Even when I was a mom blogger, I didn't show my kids, and she still doesn't show her face. Also, I've got to face reveal 2 YouTubers on my channel, which has been really fun. And my son is just starting his channel this week, and we started a new program. Can I tell you, I'm very excited about this. Well, I started a whole new company this past week because of course. And it's called Epic Wave Media, and it's very exciting because we are the wave. That's the thing, and we are going to take over because small creators, we're going to band together, and we're starting this thing called Epic 180, where you walk in with an idea, you walk out with a show in one day, either a podcast or a YouTube channel. I've got a standardized thing, and I've got a team of people. We're going to literally go out into the world because my friend and I are going to travel around the world, and we're going to help people launch their shows in a day. So 180, because you do a 180, right? Because so many people talk about, I want to show, I want to show, I want to show. And then they hem and haw, and it takes them years. No, you walk it, you're done. You have your logo, you are up in Apple, you are a podcaster by the time you walk out in 180 minutes. So I'm very excited about that. So yeah, they're going to help me behind the scenes with that. They're obviously not traveling around. My older children do not want anything to do with it. They're all successful adults doing their thing. I don't know if you know, we have 7 children born in 4 decades that span 3 generations. Good night. So my youngest Gen Z and my Gen Alpha, those are the ones that are going to be doing this.
And they're the ones that were homeschooled, I believe, yeah.
Yeah, 6 out of 7 have been I've been homeschooling since the year 2000.
Oh, brilliant. Because I think that's really good. So you might just touch on that, because I think, I mean, I've witnessed that the education system is so bad for people. It's like conditioning you to, no longer be creative.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so along that line, I'll tell you, I pulled my oldest daughter out in 5th grade, and I said, okay, go write a story. And she said, about what? And I said, whatever you want. And she's like, no, 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 you have to tell me. Like she had not a creative bone left in her body. But the reason, and so people say, do I think I'm better than a school teacher? And no, I don't. I have utmost respect for school teachers. I just want to tell you right now, and anybody who is willing to take other people's children all day, every day, 30 kids that are completely different, to teach them one thing, you're brilliant. And I've got utmost respect for you. For us, well, it was preservation because we were in gang territory. My daughter was being picked on. She really stood out. And this kid had broken other kids' bones on purpose in 4th grade when she was being threatened in 5th grade. And I was like, time to go. And but then we've moved all over the country. Clearly, we're not living in gang territory anymore. But it brings a family together in a way that family just isn't together. And I like that. But for us at this point, it's more about what they're not learning. There's a lot going on in schools, and I do believe that children need to know what's out there so they can be safe when they grow up and move out. But I don't think they need to be in it every day. And it's really sad, I think, what's happened, at least here in the US. There's some things going on in schools, man. Adults, I don't know how adults would handle it every day. Um, and there's so many now with so many homeschoolers. We could do social things. That's the one question people have. We could be social so much that they never did school, first of all, and college. My 5 oldest, 4 of them were homeschooled almost exclusively, and they all got into every college they applied for and got scholarships, because that's a question. In fact, I got to brag on one of my daughters. She got her master's in governmental quantitative analytics from Johns Hopkins, paid for by her company. So, yeah. They can do it.
Well, good. And no, that's very impressive, and it just shows, because a lot of people, and I bet you as well, because like I've had a few guests on talking about that. Like some people think, oh, you need the 8 hours a day. I mean, from what I hear, it's like 2 hours maybe, and it's like, because even like my son's going to. It's copying the Finnish system, and it's really creative. They're doing all different languages, there's music, there's everything, there's loads of art and stuff, but they don't have to go into the class if they don't want that. They're kind of self-governing themselves as well. And they all love it. Like, he loves going there. And like, you see the kids, they're really happy, as opposed to, I mean, I grew up in a traditional system and a lot of bullying, a lot of everything. And like, when you compare it, because unfortunately, a lot of parents, it's like, off you go. It's like a babysitting service. They don't even ask what's going on. They don't know. They don't even know their kids' friends or anything. And it's like, so sometimes a lot is on the parents. Not only is a broken system of the education system, but like, you have to know what's been done so you can nip it in the bud.
Oh my goodness. See, I think you touched on something. Yeah. Mhm. We've had 7 children live in our home off and on since I have been a parent. And it is not because the children had issues. It's because their parents had issues and they're not parenting. Yeah, there's a lot of they would rather be on their phone, they'd rather be on their tablet, they'd rather be doing anything than being with their own children, and they can't wait for them to go away to school. Yeah, I don't understand it because really you don't have to have them though. You know, if that's not what you want. And I think, yeah, building a passion in children to learn, whatever that thing is brilliant, you know? And like if it's art or languages or things like that. Like my daughter, during the time that we cannot speak of on YouTube, I don't say any of those words from the dark times. Harvard had these things really, because I know people that have got in trouble. So Harvard had these classes, and because my daughter had a military ID, because you needed an ID, at 11 she took a Harvard class and got an 80, which is a B in meteorology at Harvard. Because we promoted her learning meteorology, and so she did that. What was she in 5th grade or 6th grade or whatever? So I think you just if you allow them to pursue what they want to pursue, right? And give them the tools to learn that thing. It's amazing what your kids can learn. But when we beat them over the head and we make them read things they don't want to read, and we make them do the horrible things they don't want to do, and we make history so darn boring, people think history is awful. And it's not. It's intriguing and exciting, and it's all about people. But, if you make them learn April 12th of 1872 and April 13th of 1870, like, oh my God, who cares? Right? I mean, I don't care. You don't care. But give me a historical book on that and let me learn, and then it's exciting. And yeah, I could talk about homeschooling all day.
I
It
had
can really be.
a real history transition. I was like, it wasn't that I wasn't trying or reading. At 13, we started school, and we'd have 30, 35 in the class, and he used to just terrify me. And I think I got 17% or something like that. And he said that my grandmother would do better. She's been dead 10 years, and just insulting me. And it, like, my mother, like she knew I was always trying. I think it was just terrifying. And when I had him for 3 years, and then the last 2 years of school, I had a different teacher. I was getting 100%, and I got an A in the state exam. Like, from being the worst in the class to the best in the class based on a teacher.
Yeah.
It's it's and a bully, a teacher. The teacher was a bully, basically.
Oh yeah. 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 And I think, and that's what you were saying, the parents need to be involved. You do have a right to be involved in your children's education to some level. You know, you don't have a right to bully the teachers either, but you do have a right to do that. And if things aren't working out for your child, you can go in and make some changes. And they don't always like that, but you can. And your children need to see that you're their advocate. I think that's important too. They need to know that they're important because, if they're not important to you, um, yeah, they're going to go and make themselves important to somebody, and that may not be a good person. So
No, that's very like,
if
that's
there's
why I'm,
nothing else
yeah.
they learn, it's that they should be a valuable and a respected person in their family, right? I mean, that's number one,
No,
I think.
absolutely. So with the both podcasting and on video, and I know you touch on this. It's like some people, they don't like their own voice, or they go, I hate my voice. I hate looking at myself. How to overcome that one?
So this is what I tell people to do. Are you ready? This is crazy. Um, you can find a way to not hate yourself on film. I am not photogenic. I'm not, but this is what I've done. And this is what I tell people in my boot camp to do. You take your phone. Okay, you see kids, they're like, click, 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 selfie, 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 selfie. It's ludicrous, right? How many pictures they have of themselves. My phone now looks like that. And here's why. Because I need pictures and I'm not photogenic. So I tell people, you find a safe place, okay? And if your family lives with you, then it's going to be the bathroom. But that's okay. It doesn't matter. Nobody else is going to see these pictures. You take 100 pictures in one day. I mean, you every angle, every whatever. You just test all the different things, and I guarantee you're going to find one or two that you like. Okay. And then the next day you do the same thing. You do that for like a week. And maybe the next day you take 50 or whatever. You start learning what angle you're good at. So when I sit here, this is not my favorite camera. I like my iMac camera, but I had to move that computer because right now I have a big screen that I need. Um, but find the angle that works for you and set it up so that you can sit in a certain spot or be in a certain spot or walk around and hold it in a certain that you know you look good in, because everyone looks good. And here's the other thing. Really anybody, but especially if you're over the age of 30, that lens should be at eye level or above. This thing about sitting your laptop on your desk and looking down into it, don't do that. Nobody wants to see that. I don't care how old you are. It doesn't look good. It doesn't make you look good, and you're not going to feel good about it, right? So up a little bit, eye level or up, and smile, for goodness sakes. I was on somebody's show and I was talking about smiling, and he's like, "Well, you're always smiling." And I said, "Yeah, because I have that resting witch face so bad. And you need to realize and make peace with that." And because if he goes, "No, you don't." And I go, "Yeah, I make this face. It's awful, right? Nobody wants to look at that face." So, just you've got to look at yourself and take the pictures and find what works, and then you'll be happy. And make that your screensaver on your phone, which feels very self-indulgent, but get used to looking at you. I think that's the thing. You just have to do it, just like pretend you're a 12-year-old kid until you finally can say, "Okay, I can do that." And then I take tons of pictures and pick out the one or two I like, and those are the two that people see. And don't run it through AI so much it doesn't look like you, because everyone's onto that. You can touch up a little bit, especially when you get to a certain age. It does make you feel better, but it needs to look like you in your age range.
I think even now with the TikTok, it even shows, so it lets you know the person is using a certain filter so that you can click on that and use that filter if you want.
Right. Right. But these, the Snapchat that, like, okay, Martha Stewart was on the cover of Sports Illustrated last year and she looks 16. She's in her 80s. Okay. I don't advocate for that. Number one, I don't think it's fair for men, because men then expect their wives to look a certain way and they're not, you're never gonna, right? Um, but I think, we need to start normalizing aging and how people actually look. I am, and not aging, but in just humans, you know? We don't all have to look like whatever the standard is. I don't know, like, when I was a kid, it was Christy Brinkley, like, everyone wanted to be Christy Brinkley, right? Um, or whoever it is today, people just look like you. And then this is another thing that I try to get people to understand is people are getting tired of seeing those perfect people. People don't want to see perfect people. Some people do, but in general, people want to see people that look like them. And so if you're not perfect, that's okay. There's thousands of people that want to see someone with the things that you think are your flaws, because they have them too.
The thing that's kind of very interesting is, we can live to 80, 90, but we start going downhill at 30, as in, like, if you look at the sports stars, I mean, I said I squash and everything, and I could see the difference in my body. But if you look at professional footballers, 30 to 35, you rarely see him going above that. I mean, Ronaldo, I think he's nearly 40, but he's like extremely toned and he just doesn't, abuse his body. But the reality is, like, that's frustrating for so many people, because, like, you would think, why can't I do it till 50? But you can look after yourself. And the other thing is, a lot of people don't know is, you still think like you're in your 20s or 30s. People think that you get to an age and you start behaving like it's like I'm still the same person. And I think they don't realize that till they get to that age, because, you look at your parents and you were thinking, sometimes the parents get actually younger as you're aging, because they're realizing they're getting more in tune with things. And I find that very fascinating in this world.
Yeah. I mean, I had an idea of people in their 50s, like, oh, they knew everything. First of all, once you're in their 50s, you're old and you're white. You know everything and how's the world working, how everything goes together. I have not ever been more confused than I am right now about how things are going, right? Also, the world is really confusing to me. But yeah, I mean, I don't think like an old person. I've got all these ideas. I want to make them happen. I want to do all these things. My body may not want to, and I'm still going to go and I'm going to try it anyway, and find a way to make it happen. So yeah, I absolutely agree. Yeah, it's interesting. Your perspective changes so much, but a lot of things are just the same. I think we're always kids at heart.
No, absolutely. And I think that's how you actually, like, as you say, keep smiling and everything. Always be the kid, because sometimes you think you have to be serious, and it's like, do you want to be around people that are serious, or the person that's actually having a laugh and smiling and joking? That's
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, and it doesn't take that much to smile, and you might just make somebody's day. And especially someone's grumpy. Oh my gosh. And because chances are they're probably just having a bad day. And if they are just a jerk, well, then maybe you gave them the only smile that they're going to get that day. So really, it's a win-win for you.
right. So let's get into the monetization, for the podcasting or the YouTube show and everything, because there's so many different, like, my Polish one is I think it's like 1.5 million that I remember I got, and it's probably different on this side of the pond than in America, but I remember I'd like get like 100,000, 300,000, and it was like $500. It was like brutal. Like, if I had to advertise, you're 20 times or more for the same thing. Like, so they pay out tiny. But I saw on your one, and I didn't see that before, is like a merch store that you can have on the thing. Plus, you can have a link for your books and stuff like that. So you might just touch on the different things that can get some of the podcasters some financials to help them.
Yeah. It's interesting what you say, Lynn, because I'm putting together this thing to bring people together. And nobody's allowed to talk about 10x or six figures. Not allowed, because I'm so tired of this. I'll get you six figures in 6 months and 10x you in 10 days and 10 minutes, whatever it is. And the money in podcasting, and the people that are making six figures in podcasting are selling people how to make six figures in podcasting, because it's not from their podcast. Let's be honest. I mean, let's be honest. And people are so worried about getting monetized on YouTube. And I'll tell you right now, stop worrying about that, because it's not going to pay you that much money. You are not paying your rent on YouTube monetization. I got almost 100,000. I'll have 100,000 subs close to when this comes out. And I'm not paying my rent or my mortgage or whatever. It's sponsorships. That's where the money is now, but not traditional sponsorships, because I had someone sent somebody to me the other day to help her, because she wants to travel with the money she makes from her podcast. And she said, oh my gosh, I'm getting so many more downloads on YouTube than I do my traditional show, yada, yada. How many do you get? 15. Okay, can I tell you? You're not traveling on that. You're not buying a mac and cheese on that, or a ramen, for goodness sake.
You to buy a lollipop on a...
You cannot, because it's, you think about it, it's what, $21 to $25 every 1,000 downloads for the current episode within the first 30 days it comes out. It's not even for all the episodes in your show. It is incredibly small, the amount of people, because we figured it out. It was like $250 for 10,000 downloads. That is not a lot of money. So the money is in the sponsorship. So if you have something where it's there's a group of people that are your diehard fans, and you can, like, and Pat Flynn is, I love Pat Flynn, and that's how I started podcasting, was listening to him. But you get those super fans, right? And somebody else wrote the book on super fans, but he talks about it. So I'm giving him credit. But you get those fans, and you let the sponsors know, I've got these people that want what I have, right? They want to do what I do or whatever, and get your sponsorships. We are actually working on those. They're hard. Money's hard. Monetization's hard. I think it's way harder than you think it is when you go to a podcasting conference and you're sold a bill of goods. I believe that has been my and my friend's experience in the creative space. I think utilizing your podcast to drive people to your business, that's the way to go. And like this woman, that doesn't have a whole lot of downloads. And I'm thinking, I don't know how she's going to monetize. I mean, this is, it's going to be years for her to grow this audience. But then she said something to me, and the wheels, are turning, because I have got 10,000 ideas. I do. I love coming up with new ideas, as you can tell by reading my bio. But she said, I put my email address on Facebook, and I can't answer all these emails because people have all these questions for me. Well, then you need a Patreon so that people can pay you to ask you the questions. And so, you have something like that where you've got knowledge that nobody else has. Well, then you can, utilize something like a Patreon, because you think about it, $5 a month, you just charge them $5. You have 100 people, that's $500 a month, you know? So that is the same as if you had 20,000 downloads. And so I think just getting creative with all the different ways that people can monetize and thinking, I hate the word outside the box, but thinking that way, thinking in a different way, and not just saying, if I just put out this podcast, I'm going to make it, my $1 million. Because I don't know about you. Do you know anyone who's making $1 million just literally from their podcast? No, no. Yeah. And I wish more people were honest about it.
And it's usually the people that are kind of going, for 6,000, I can get you lead generation. And they come in, the amount of people that I've seen lose money on that. And I keep going to, people come to me for the different things I'm doing. And I go, I'm happy to do a split on the different things you come in. No, because we've a team that has to put everything together. But I said, you'll get 10 times more money if you're as good as you say. Not one has ever taken me up on the offer. So that tells you.
Yeah. No, and it makes me sad because all these people have these huge hopes. They have this beautiful idea and they're really good at what they know and they want to have a show, and people just sell them this thing that they're going to get rich off a podcast. You're not going to get rich off a podcast, but it can make you an authority in something. It can lead people to go to your business. It can do all these things. I don't know. I mean, correct me if you think I'm wrong, but for me right now, I actually have a series of, what are they called? Public service announcements that I'm putting on LinkedIn. I put my magazine cover on there the other day. I know it's going to make people agitated. But it's Bull Snark Magazine, because this is my year of no bull snark, because I'm not swearing because I have a family company. Because this is my year of none of that. And so this magazine is like me with this ridiculous face. And then it's like, we'll 10x you in 10 minutes and, 6 figures in 6 days, all the things or whatever. And I have these things that are like, it's stop selling people this bill of goods. I don't think it's right. I really just, I'm sorry, this is my soapbox. It frustrates me to no end. And people need to talk to people like you, right? Or people like me, or people that are legitimately wanting to help you grow without selling you the plan to help you grow. And that's how people are making their 6 figures in podcasting. Anyway, that was a lot of that. Sorry. I have a lot of
like
thoughts about it.
even your man Grant Cardone, like I heard Gary Breck, I think he's a health guy. So he was working with him and was cheated, and it came across other people. So all these big boys that have massive teams, they're all scammers. Unfortunately, there's so many scammers out there. And even the people on stage telling you how to make millions. How are they making millions? They're on stage selling crap and saying there's only 20 tickets for his program, and then you see 100 people queuing up and they're all buying it, and it's like, where did this 20 go from? And I saw that at an early stage. And it's just, yeah, I think you just have to look at everything before you spend it when you're investing in yourself. And what I've learned, even with the YouTube, like I tried different people. People say, I can go in, do this, do the graphic, do this. And it always goes down. It's always when I do it myself that it works, because I pay attention to it and I'm looking at it. I suppose it's like the same with yourself. Like, what will resonate with your listeners, because that's your bread and butter, and it's what you eat, drink, and sing in the shower and speak and do your little show.
Yes.
Whereas no matter who you get, they're not at that level and they're not thinking. And
No.
some, even if the people can't, like I engage with all the, I'm just curious, because I mean, you've way more like downloads and stuff like that. Do you engage with the YouTube yourself, or do you have somebody working on that? Like, and how do you get them that they'd be at a level that kind of understands what you would respond to?
Okay, I don't do.
Well, say on commenting with your social media, like even with the YouTube, because like I get a lot of comments on the YouTube, but I mean, with the numbers you've got, you probably get a lot more. Do you engage with that yourself? Do you have somebody that's actually managing that?
I do it all. Everything I do it all right now. I have hired and fired more people because they don't get it. And so, no, I do everything I comment. I don't comment on all of them. I used to. I mean, I spent one day, I did 1,000, I had 1,000 people. But if there's a comment on my YouTube channel, it is absolutely me. every single time. If people email me, it's me every single. No, I don't open all my emails. I've got 500 important emails I've saved for later. I'll never open. But I do every single thing myself like that because I just think it's important and authentic. Now it's going to get to a point where I can't. But for right now, it is all me. Yeah,
And
it is
what
all.
about, because I get a couple of hundred a week from all these podcast promoters. Like they're just, and unfortunately they've moved over to LinkedIn as well, which was a safe place. But sometimes it's okay because they're trying to get close with you and they're commenting and they're giving thumbs up on the stuff, which helps the algorithms. But then they're just bitch, and I'll just say no thanks. But that doesn't, that language doesn't, and there's like 5 minutes later, and then you just block them. But still, it's so hard to get away from that because you have genuine people that come in reaching to you and they're happy because they're listening to your show and they might have a nice comment, which or a suggestion. So you can't
Right.
block everything. So I'm just wondering, how do you navigate that one?
Oh, I just don't engage with them at all. And also do not hire them. Do not hire them. It doesn't matter. I know you want 1,000 more people and you want 1,000 more million views or whatever, but they're bots. They do bots. And once you do that, you're going to lose your YouTube channel altogether. Don't do it. Do not. I know somebody who did that and I mean, they got demonetized and demonetized and demonetized. I mean, it doesn't do you any good in the long run, you know? Um, just don't engage with them at all. And that's one of my videos that I'm going to be putting out in LinkedIn. Like if you have YouTube or Apple in the title of your job, I will not engage with you at all. Cause I know. And so stop bugging my inbox, stop filling my inbox with garbage. No, I'm just not going to engage. I don't engage with them. If they have, no, I just don't. And if they're legitimate, then they're going to need to change their title. Cause no.
So you've got the 5 books, and I'm definitely interested in the YouTube one because just from what you've been talking about, I know that's going to be fantastic. Have the books helped with your numbers either in the podcast or the YouTube channel?
I don't know. Probably not. Honestly, probably not. My first book was about it was along the lines of my show. It was, because my show was called The Sick Mom's Guide and it was called The Sick Mom's Guide. And so it helped moms, but I don't know how much it helped my show. I don't know, they kind of give you some kind of, I think, write it, and then there's 3 of them that are journals. Now, there's 6,000 words in these journals. And they're 2.5 pounds, my journals. They're up there. They're the size of a textbook because during the event of, 2020, I had a little 5-year journal and it was little though, and there's room to write a sentence, and there was a lot happening in 2020 and I wanted to document it, and I was writing, all around these little things, and I thought, why doesn't anyone make a 5-year journal so you can see your life, right? With a paragraph for every year, and then you go back and see what happened. And so I created them, and the reason is because you're killing many trees when you make those. But the neat thing about it is you really see your life. And so I did one for business owners, and there's a prompt every month so you can grow your business. There was one about being happy because everyone says they want to be happy. When you ask them what's going to make them happy, they have no idea. And so every month there's a different prompt, which you can follow or not follow, whatever. Hide your passwords in there. It's big enough. And then there's one for sick moms to help them get their life together because it's not easy when you don't feel well. And so I don't know if those helped or not. I mean, saying that I've published 5 books, but the one that has helped is this YouTube one, because it was #1 new release for 31 days. And that's almost unheard of on Amazon. And the funny thing is, I reached out to these YouTubers and I'm like, I'm writing a book. I decided to write it and it was published in 2 weeks. Okay. So because when I decide I'm going to do something, I just do it. I literally did not sleep. And it was very nervy. I reached out to them and I said, I'm writing a best-selling book. You have 2 days. Contribute. And they did. And it was. And I don't know how all that happened. And now they got to be part of this thing that was, whatever. And so that actually has helped because it stayed 1 for so long. It was top of the charts and everything. And being able to say that because there's so few that actually, because if your book is in the #1 slot for 1 hour on Amazon, you get to say it was a bestseller. So, so 31 days.
And just
Yeah.
curious because a lot of people have different strategies, and I've had a few authors on. Scott Allen was one. He's had a lot of international best-selling books and translated and everything. And everyone has a different kind of way of doing it, like free for the first kind of thing, or 99¢. And what was your launch strategy? I know
I
that's
will share it with you,
goal.
but I don't share it publicly. But I can tell you that my strategy got a 12-year-old girl a bestseller book because I have a strategy. It is my own thing. And this girl, she had an orange cover book, which I mean that is not a #1 best-selling book color. That she hand drew herself, and it was a 90-page book, and it was #1 because she used my thing. So if people are interested, they have to reach out to me personally because I'm not going to post it out in public. But I will share. I will share one-on-one. But I do have a strategy. Yeah. And I did not give my book away for free. But I think that is a good strategy. I know a lot of people that do it, and it does work because you get the numbers up, because really it's a numbers game. It is a numbers game. I just play that numbers game a little bit differently within the rules, and it works. But yeah.
So finally, did you do the audiobook, and is it your voice?
Oh my gosh, it is my voice, because this is the thing. Okay. So have you written a book?
I have, but
You have. Yeah.
it's interesting. My podcast one is orange, but that didn't, and the other one is that's kind of talking about the things we're not supposed to talk about. And I got it out to about 20 people, and I was advised not to. So I didn't actually publish a proper book, just a journal. But yeah, but I know the process of writing.
So the thing is, when you know what you meant to say, and so when you read it quietly, like silently to yourself, you hear what you meant to say and not what you actually said. And because I was doing this in 2 weeks, there was no time to get an editor, no editor. I mean, I would have had to pay them $10,000 to get it done, right, overnight. So what I did was I wrote it. I had the people contribute, and here's what I'll tell people listening. If you've got an Apple product, and I'm sure that PC has it, but Apple, in Pages, they have a book format. You go to Amazon, you find out what the things are, because formatting, I wrote my first book in 8 days. It took me 3 months to edit and format, though. Formatting was the death of me. And so this time, I put what Amazon wanted into Apple Pages. That took literally 2 minutes, and I wrote the book as the format I needed to submit. That was incredible. Do that. You don't need all the fancy stuff. Don't pay extra. And then to edit it, I read the audiobook. And so as I found a mistake, I changed it as I was reading the audiobook, and it was done. I had the whole thing done and submitted and accepted the first time, which apparently is rare. But I think because we record things all the time, and it was funny. I used Auphonic. I paid $11 for a few extra hours of Auphonic. Because, that's what I use anyway, the free thing to clean up I use Adobe Podcast too, because that's even better. But my daughter listens to it. She goes, Mom, it sounds like a real audiobook. Yeah, it's a real audiobook. I just used Auphonic. That's all I did.
Never heard of Auphonic. Like I use Adobe for some stuff, but Auphonic is.
Well, let me tell you what, Auphonic is nice because it's a leveler, right? It's a sound leveler. It cleans it up really nice. And I mean, you can take everything out but your voice, which you normally don't want to, but for an audiobook, you do. But it's nice for people starting out, because if I started out with I paid for nothing, GarageBand, Auphonic, all this stuff. It was just, my host was the only thing I paid for. And that's how I encourage other people to start, because, most people pod fade, as you know, and then they're not sinking all this money into whatever. But yeah, except Auphonic, well, it used to be free. Now they put their jingle on your stuff unless you pay. And I don't like that. Auphonic, that's sassy. But now you can do Adobe Podcast for free, which is incredible, because it sounds like you were in a studio and you could be next to a jackhammer and it'll take all that away. So, yeah.
I did not. I mean, I'm using the paid one. It takes $13 for Adobe, but yeah, it's free.
So I had a meeting with Harmony from Adobe Podcast, which was incredible. And so yeah, she was telling me about it. And so you can get, it's like podcast.adobe, whatever, for absolutely free. Now, if you're doing video, you got to chop your video up into little pieces, because you can only put so much up there. So she and I are working on them accepting more than that. But For $10, you can get Adobe Express, which is like Canva, and a higher level of the podcasting. That's cheaper than Canva. And Adobe is just so beautiful. I mean, their assets are so beautiful. Canva's great, but Adobe is, I just love it. So yeah. And I had told you earlier, I do some of my own music, right? So I've been writing music since I was a kid. My dad and I used to do songs together, but I never had anyone to, do the songs. But now there's AI. So AI does my songs, and I'm starting to put them out there in the world and see how they go. But yeah, and so I can do the videos through there, which is nice. Super easy.
Listen, you told us loads of tips and tricks, and if people pay attention and maybe get a journal like you have and write them down and action them. So yeah, thoroughly enjoyed it, Jen. So you might let people know where they can find you.
JenHardy.net. Everything's right there on the homepage.
Nice and simple, nice and easy.
Yeah.
So, yeah, perfect. I'll make sure I put up the audio in the video. Thank you very much, Jen.
Super. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it. It's been fun.
That's all for the Podfather. You'll find all the episodes on podfather.me. Find my 6 podcasts, scan the QR code, or go to roycollin.com. And if you're looking for a virtual assistant, we've offers from $99. Go to va.world. Until next week, take care.